Every day we're going to be here, and I've got a list of individuals that I want Sheriff Glenn to look at. Every day we come here, and we're having a dialogue. We're attempting to have a dialogue with the leadership inside that jail, with the Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, and we're telling her what our family is going through. We're telling her what the other families are going through. I've been coming here, my family has been coming here for 4 weeks. We're attempting to have a dialogue with Sheriff Glenn Hill. Sheriff Glenn Hill, you're asking the community to vote for you. Across the field, you've got giant posters that says, vote for Sheriff Glenn Hill. Okay? All right. You want the community to vote for you? Well, I'm going to be here, sir, and I'm going to tell you what my family is going through. I'm going to tell you what the other families in this community are going through. I've got a list of names, and we want answers, sir. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to attempt to have a dialogue with the Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, over this giant megaphone, in the most unusual way of having a conversation. Now, I'm having a conversation like this because my family was kicked out of the Commonwealth attorney office. In April, they falsified my brother's police report. Mustafa Al-Jazari, Investigator Drum, talked to him on the phone. We recorded that conversation when the investigator talked to my brother. When the police report came out, we found out that the police report is falsified. Now, 4 days ago, Internal Affairs, First Sergeant Sean Shelton with Internal Affairs, calls us, and he tells us that he found out that Investigator Robert Drum has falsified the police report. And the Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, had known about it since April, since day one. She knew about it. Now, that's not me saying it, that's Internal Affairs. First Sergeant Sean Shelton with Internal Affairs, Prince William County Police Department. Now, I recorded this conversation, and what I did with that recording, I publicized it. I put it on TikTok under Free Moses. I put it on YouTube under Free Mustafa Al-Jazari. I put it on Instagram. I put it on Facebook under Free Mustafa Al-Jazari. And now what I also did with this audio from Internal Affairs, I took it to the FBI. So now, that's not me saying it anymore. That's Internal Affairs telling us that Investigator Robert Drum with Prince William County Police Department has falsified the police report, and Amy Ashworth knew about it since day one. Now, I'm here. We've been coming here for the past 4 weeks. And I have questions for the Commonwealth Attorney Office, Amy Ashworth. Ma'am, you've got giant posters, giant boards that you're asking the community to vote for you. It's election time. You want the community to vote for you so you can be a Commonwealth Attorney Office again. Now, my question to you is, why is Internal Affairs telling us that you've been protecting a police officer that falsified the police report since April? My question to you is, ma'am, is the career of that police officer more important than my brother? I understand that he's been there for 20 years, but is his career and service more important than my brother, Mustafa Al-Jazari? That's what you're telling me. That's what Internal Affairs is telling me. Now, I've got a platform. I've managed to create a platform. Every day I come here, me and my family, and this is public space. So the police department is not doing me a favor by letting me be here. I'm going to be here because I'm protected by the Constitution. And I'm going to call on you, ma'am, to come out and have a conversation with us, have a dialogue. Give us the answers that we're looking for. Why are you protecting a police officer that lied on a police report? Internal Affairs is telling us this. I've got it on audio, where Internal Affairs is saying it, for the whole entire community to see what you do behind closed doors. Then you come out to the community, and you give out beautiful speeches. If I didn't know what I know about you, I would think you're an angel. But behind closed doors, what you do, you protect a police officer that lied on a police report. This community has to know. This community, when you start doing stuff like this, no one is safe. I mean, it's happening to my brother. What's to say that it's going to happen to someone else? What's to say it hasn't been done to someone else? Investigator's there for 20 years. He's been there for 20 years. He feels comfortable. I mean, an investigator doesn't just wake up one day and decide to falsify a police report. No, he's been doing it. And he did it because he felt comfortable that he knows he's got a Commonwealth attorney that has his back. Ma'am, 4 days ago, Internal Affairs calls us. This is my community, this is your community. That's why we're having a dialogue. Internal Affairs calls us 4 days ago, and I've got it on a recording, that they found out a police officer lied on a police report, and the Commonwealth attorney knew about it since day one, and I publicized that audio, I recorded it, and I put it on YouTube. If you cared about your community, you would listen to that audio. Because today is my brother, tomorrow could be your son. Ma'am, I ask you to keep us in your prayers. And I'm here every day. I've managed to create a platform where I can voice out my words.
She used that falsified
they
report.
got it. The media is in their pocket. So when I go to the media, they're not going to report on it. But let's face it, the media is social media. If you're on social media, it's a small community. The word is going to go around. Internal Affairs called us, ma'am, 4 days ago, and they told us that a police officer, they found out that a police officer lied on a police report, and Amy Ashworth, the Commonwealth attorney, knew about it since day one. Yes, ma'am, they're liars. They are liars. But you know, they threatened my family, and they wanted me to go away. I'm not going to go away. I served 2 years overseas. You think I'm just going to go away? These people do not scare me. And I've got a niece, she's 2 years old. She's growing up in this community. You think I'm going to allow for her to grow in a community where an officer believes that he's above the law? Amy Ashworth, I promise you that on my watch, we're not going to re-elect it. Sheriff Glenhill, my brother, on your watch, was beaten up in jail, handcuffed behind his back, stripped naked, beaten up, and denied medical on your watch. I promise you, you're not going to re-elect it. Because I'm going to be here every day. Then I'm going to publicize what I know.
This corruption.
This corruption has to stop. We're living in a community. And we're going to attempt to have a dialogue with you, sir. We're going to attempt to have a dialogue with you, ma'am. I mean, answers, we want answers. And I'm going to be here, and I'm going to call on Governor Glenn Youngkin. Now, I wrote a letter to his office. I'm here in front of the courthouse. And come next week, we're going to be protesting in front of the Governor Office in Richmond. And it's not my words against his words. Internal Affairs, 4 days ago, called us. First Sergeant Sean Shelton called us from Internal Affairs, Prince William County, and he told us that he found out that Investigator Robert Drum has falsified the police report, and Amy Ashford, the Commonwealth attorney, knew about it since day one. Now I've got that on a recorded line. We recorded that conversation. We took it to the FBI. They're investigating. And I put it on YouTube. So I publicize it in the community. If you're on TikTok, Free Moses, you'll see it. You'll hear it. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Now I call on Governor Youngkin. Governor Youngkin. I served overseas 2 years. When I got back, I started a company for the Marine base. I hired in this company 4 military police officers on their day off. They're working in this company. We're teaching them a skill. Instead of on their day off, instead of just sitting in the barracks doing nothing, these are active Marines. Instead of doing nothing in the barracks, I put them in this company. We teach them a skill, and we have them serve their fellow Marines. So I've served this country, sir. Governor Youngkin, I call on you, sir. My family is going through a situation where you have someone in office, the Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, is protecting a police officer. And it's not my word against her word, sir. I'm going to email you the audio where Internal Affairs First Sergeant Sean Shelton says, I'm going to email you this audio, and you tell me what's going on. I call on you, sir, to clean out the swamps. Governor Youngkin, the swamps is here. It's in the Commonwealth Attorney office. This lady thinks the community is dumb. She goes out, she goes across the field, and she's asking this community to vote for her. She gives out beautiful speeches. I swear to God, if I didn't know what I know, I would think she's an angel. But why is Internal Affairs calling us 4 days ago, telling us that not only he found out that investigator Robert Drum falsified the police report, but she knew about it since day one. Amy Ashworth, the Commonwealth Attorney Office, knew about it since day one.
Supposed to be upholding the truth.
Ethically, you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. If you know that the police report is falsified, you can't do it. You're not supposed to do it.
But she brought.
But instead, once the investigation was launched by Internal Affairs, First Sergeant Sean Shelton, he on the recording line, you can hear it. He said, when I found out that we had the audio, I went to the case file. I found out that we have our own audio. We matched it with your audio, it's the same audio. I looked at the police report, I determined that it's falsified. Then I personally picked up the phone on Amy Ashworth, the Commonwealth attorney, and I notified her. No, he said, I asked her a question. I mean, it's in the audio, you can listen to it. He said, I asked her a question. He said, ma'am, are you aware that this police report is falsified? And she tells him yes. Then he hangs up the phone, he calls the chief, he briefs the chief, Chief News M, or Prince William County Police Department, and the chief says, go ahead and launch an investigation on investigator Robert Drum. This report is falsified. Now 2 days later, she goes behind everybody's back,
before a grand jury,
and she uses
falsified report.
Investigator Robert Drum, falsified police report, and indict my brother and up his charges. Ma'am, you think we're stupid? You think this community is stupid? We know what you're doing. Because an investigation was launched into the police officer that you're protecting, before the mechanism, before that process gets concluded, you found out that they found out it's false, it's falsified. They found out that you were protecting him. You went and moved so fast, and you upped the charges. Ma'am, the FBI is notified. We took the audio with Internal Affairs when First Sergeant Sean Shelton called. We took the audio, we took it to the FBI. The FBI is already investigating my brother's beating inside Sheriff's Blue Hills jail. They're investigating the correctional officer. They're investigating Correctional Officer Suda. They're investigating Correctional Officer Bolevsky. They're investigating Correctional Officer Tipton. They're investigating Correctional Officer Sergeant Daniels. They went in, handcuffed my brother behind his back, stripped him naked, beat him up, and then Sergeant Daniels puts his boots on his head, and he tells him, the nurse is about to be here, if you ask for medical, I'm going to beat you up more. So they deny him medical, and we get it. They deny him medical because they don't want it to get documented. Now we're finding out that there's other inmates that they're doing this to. Robert Reed died inside that jail. They beat him up the same way. He died. His family is asking for, God bless you, sir. I ask you to keep up in your prayers. And please follow the sitcom and share it with the community. It's free Moses. God bless you, sir. You know, all we're doing here is we're having a dialogue. God bless you, sir. The FBI, we went to the department, when they beat up my brother in jail, we went to the Department of Justice. We contacted them. And then we were so shocked that within 3 days, they moved in with the FBI, an FBI agent, along with an individual from the Department of Justice, went inside that jail, sat down with my brother and they were asking him questions. They were investigating the correctional officers. And next thing you know, we have the FBI in our house for 5 hours. For 5 hours, we sat down with him, and we gave them all the evidence why he's my brother that shows that my brother is innocent. My brother has a dash camera in his car.
Why did he get beat up in jail?
My brother has a dash camera in his car. He has all the evidence that shows it was a regular accident, and he's innocent. So the FBI sat down with him for 5 hours. That's a lot of evidence that we have to give them. So we have a theory. Now we have a theory why they're targeting my brother. In 2000, what was it, 18 or 19?
18.
2018, I was doing a contract overseas, and then I hear that they had an altercation with a tow truck driver in Stafford. My family. Mustafa. It's Mustafa's vehicle. A tow truck shows up in my house, and they want to tow a vehicle that he has the title for. It's his vehicle. The tow truck driver gets upset that he can't tow the vehicle. And we find out later. We find out that this tow truck company is the biggest company in Stafford, and this company has a relationship with the police department, Stafford Police Department.
And the guy had a warrant for his arrest.
And the driver had a warrant out for his arrest. That's
for a separate incident.
So what they did when the tow truck driver couldn't tow the vehicle, my brother has a title to the vehicle, it's his vehicle. Okay, when the tow truck driver didn't like that he couldn't tow it, he went, and next thing you know, you had so many officers at the house at gunpoint. They went into the house. They took everybody's out. They took my brother. They took the whole entire family. Kept him out of the house for 12 hours. Went into the house without a warrant. This is 2019? 2018. They went into the house without a warrant, into the house and flipped the house upside down. Okay, all right. So we sued, at the time, we sued Stafford County. And the lawyer that took the case to sue Stafford County, he's like, be careful. They're gonna come after you. You don't sue a county and they're not gonna come after you. An accident happens in April, and that's exactly what happened. They lie on, we're trying to find out why are they lying on my brother's police report? Why? What's going on here? We can only put one and two together. I mean, I don't know Investigator Robert Drum. My brother, Mustafa, doesn't know Investigator Robert Drum.
Well, he seems to know Mustafa very well.
But he seems to know Mustafa very well. He lies on the police report. Internal Affairs is telling us now, 4 days ago, that they found that he actually lied on the police report. And the Commonwealth attorney knew about it since day one, Amy Ashworth.
And she's protecting a
And
corrupt
she's protecting the police officer that lied on the police report. Now, he didn't just lie on the police report, by the way.
He edited the dash cam.
Camera, they mute the audio. Then they say they have the audio. We have proof that they have the audio, but they mute the audio on the dash camera. And the camera itself, it records in 1 minute increments. It's a really expensive camera. It's a really fancy camera. And it records in one increment and protects itself in case of an accident, blah. It's a good camera. It records in 1 minute. Tell me why they only release the last 8 seconds before impact in the accident. Why? They cut the dash camera, but the Lord is working. Even with the edited dash camera, it shows that my brother is innocent. It shows that it was a regular accident.
They tamper with the vehicle.
The vehicle itself, after the accident, everybody's out of the vehicle. The media report on it, and they took a picture of the vehicle. Now we send an accident reconstructionist, and they send us pictures. The vehicle looks different from after the accident. Inside the police department, what they did, they had crushed the vehicle. They had crushed the vehicle to make it collaborate the falsified police report. It looks like the vehicle has been crushed in. We're asking the lawyer at the time, the Casey Stephen, the one we fired. Casey Stephen was protecting the police officer that falsified the police report. $45,000, Casey Stevens is protecting the police officer that lied on the police report. We fired him. Now we have a different attorney. I'm going to get my money back. I'm going through the process. At the time, when we asked the lawyer what's going on with the vehicle, this is the vehicle after the accident. This is the vehicle inside the police department. Why had they crushed the vehicle? They're tampering with evidence. Casey Stevens tells us they were extracting everybody out of that vehicle. But in the picture, if you look at it after the accident, everybody's already out of the vehicle. So what was the purpose for pushing the vehicle? You think we're dumb. You think my family is dumb. You think my family is stupid. You think this community is stupid. Ma'am, we're here. Amy Ashworth, ma'am, you're protecting the police officer.
When you're supposed to be protecting the community.
You're supposed to be protecting the community. That's exactly right. You're supposed to be protecting the community. But you're not, ma'am. You're not.